Alright, so today we're going to be looking at Rise. Now, Rise was the first DLC map for Black Ops 2, and was definitely a map that caused a lot of controversy, we'll say, because of how it's designed and some of the things that happen on the map. But at the same time, it houses probably one of the best wonder weapons you can get in zombies, I would say. And definitely a pretty good map to get high rounds on as well, if you do a certain strategy. But yeah, we'll go over Rise, what it adds to the game, what it does, any additions to Black Ops 2 as a whole, and then my own kind of thoughts on the map as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so to kind of explain the layout and the idea of Rise, so the map takes place in a couple of skyscrapers that have like smacked together, and the way you get around the map mostly is through elevators and verticality. It's all like a vertical map. They kind of built the map around going up and down rather than like moving on the same floor, and it is a good idea, but I think the execution is kind of weird. That being said, the riding in the elevators is really fun, and they also house the perk machines, so waiting for the lifts to arrive at certain floors will give you certain perk machines, like Juggernaut Quick Revive, Double Tap Speed Cola, Pack-a-Punch, and a new perk which we'll go over in a moment. The map also has like keys, where you can kind of use these keys on certain elevator spots to call them to your floor rather than randomly waiting for them. It's useful, but at the same time, it's more beneficial just to kind of ride the elevators around and just hope to find it when you're on the right floor. But they do help if you desperately need a perk. And the system is fine. I think the elevator part of it is fine, but there are certain parts on the map that require you to like jump or fall down. And I can't tell you how many times I've kind of like played this map way back when it first came out or recently and just fell off and died. Because the interesting thing is, if you fall off the map, even with Quick Revive, if you fall off the map, you're dead. Like, that's it, you're not coming back, you are done. The story of the map follows the transit crew. I'm not going to go into full details about the story. I do plan to make videos for the individual maps and talk about the storyline that's happening within the maps. But it follows the transit crew, and they are yet again trying to help Maxis or Richtofen to achieve their goals. That's as far as I'll go with that. And it takes place in China. So it's a bit different from Transit, which is set in the US, but this is set in China. Now, the wonder weapon on the map, I don't have footage of it to show you, but I'm sure everyone knows what the Slicker Fire is, and pretty much what it does is it shoots this purple goo on the floor, and any zombies that walk over it start sliding around, and you also slip on it as well, so it can pretty much kill you just as easy as it can kill zombies. And that is kind of like the key gun to use, especially if you're trying to get high rounds, because there is a certain spot on this map where you can pretty much sit in the corner, shoot a Slicker Fire at a door, and because it's one of the wonder weapons that has no damage fall off, it will just keep killing, and it is very strong. One thing to keep in mind with the gun itself though is it cannot be pack-a-punched, and it does not come from the mystery box. You have to find the parts and craft it, and I believe there is 4 parts you have to find to make the Slicker Fire. They're not all that far away from each other, they're in like adjacent rooms to each other, but you do have to kind of find them. And again, with the workbench system in Black Ops 2, you have to take in each individual part back to the bench before you can craft it, unlike in the new games where you can find them all and craft it all at once. You have to go back and forth when you found each piece. Now, with the perks they added on this map, I would always recommend never to use it because it can pretty much get you killed very easily. But it's called Who's Who, and to kind of give you an idea of what it does, if you play Cold War and you've upgraded Tombstone to like the maximum tier, it kind of has the Who's Who effect, where basically what will happen is you'll go down, and when you die you'll turn into like a ghost, and you can revive yourself basically. The only issue is, unlike the Black Ops Cold War version, in this game, I believe you come back with a pistol, and if you die in the ghost form, you're dead. So it's really not worth getting at all, and just keep Quick Revive instead, because it's a really bad perk. It's ironic that the 2 new perks they add with Black Ops 2, Tombstone and Who's Who, are just not very good. But following those, the extra perks they add later down the line are actually really, really useful. So it's weird that they added 2 crap ones and then kind of made up for it by adding 2 really, really good perks. Another new addition to Rise was the new boss round, and these things are apparently called jumping jacks. Everyone calls them that online. I don't know if that's actually what they're called or not, but essentially what they are Nova Crawlers from Kino, for example, but instead of them kind of exploding and turning into gas, they kind of blink around and jump around all over the place. They're quite easy to kill. And there's one thing with them that's really, really good, is if you manage to clear the whole round and you don't miss a shot on them at all and you kill them all, you'll get a free perk. It is worth doing if you want to. You have the risk of getting Who's Who, and that's really bad if you get that. But if you want an extra perk, you can just try and do the round without missing a shot, and you'll get a perk. I think the best way to do it is kind of like the first time they appear, just use a knife because they're quite easy to kill. and you'll probably get a decent perk and hopefully not hoops 2. But yeah, that pretty much covers Door Rise. Other than that, the smaller things they've added are new buildables and new, I guess, a different type of zombie, but it's not really noticeable after the first few rounds. But basically they wear armor, and on round 1 you really notice it the most, where they take 2 knives instead of 1. But other than that, it's just a bonus round has changed from dogs to these like jumping jacks, I guess. But Door Rise, yeah, it's a decent map. People are kind of thrown off of it by how you get around it, and I can kind of agree with it in some ways, because it can kind of feel off, like you have to wait around for elevators and stuff like that, and you could jump and fall off, and sometimes you'll die and it'll be out of your control, like you'll jump a gap and a zombie will spawn in as you do it and you just clip each other and die. It can be quite annoying, but in terms of if you manage to get set up and you get all the stuff you need, it can be quite a fun map, and it is one of the fastest maps to get high rounds on if you know the spot and how to use the liquefier effectively. But yeah, that is Door Rise. Next map is Mob of the Dead, and that one is a big one. There's a lot going on in that map. A lot kind of really kicks off in zombies from that map onwards, so there'll be a lot to cover. But yeah, thank you for coming by. Remember to leave your thoughts on Door Rise down in the comments. Do you like it? Do you hate it? But yeah, thank you for coming by, and I'll catch you in the next one.